Director Vishwesh Krishnamurti joins hands with arguably the most sought after music director of Indian cinema, the Oscar-winning A.R. Rehman, to give us a film, again not much spoken of or aggressively sold, 99 songs. The number 99 somehow reminds you of the likes of Dilip Vengsakar, Chetan Sharma, and surely Mohammad Azharuddin, all for different reasons. But 99 songs has a greater sense of positivity than two of the three other 99s that I spoke of. Interesting film. And unlike a number of Indian films based on classical music, from Baiju Bawara coming down to films that you have seen during the COVID period, this is not based on Indian classical music, but is based on Western classical music. And the moment I say it's based on Western classical music, I'm also saying that I have not even a nodding acquaintance with that genre, and therefore I'm an absolute layperson watching this film, and the nuances of Western music are lost on my ears. So when I evaluate this film, I evaluate it just as any musical and not as a movie that brings along with it the sensitivity required to appreciate a film dealing with Western classical music. Star is Born, Sound of Music, Immortal Beloved, Songs of Summer, Amadeus, Rocketman, all these movies, somebody who's an expert would probably compare 99 songs with any of these Western movies, some of them classics, dealing with classical Western music. Even if you see it from the stance of a musical, Sound of Music, for example, not in that genre, not there. But having said this, I think A.R. Rehman must be complimented surely for putting his money back into the stream which gave him his fame. Compliment A.R. Rehman for making a film that looks as honest as the man looks, which is of course a compliment because Rehman comes out to the unknown public, or to me at least, as a very simple person speaking from out of his heart, and that makes to an important element in 99 songs. Again, when you make a film and you don't make that typical love triangle story or something of that kind, and you're setting out with something specific, today that itself appears to be a virtue with the arts. Unfortunately, somewhere down this film, the virtue gets lost in the purpose. There are errors and large identifiable areas where corrections could have altered the course of this film into the archive to being a masterpiece. Unfortunately, those errors are overlooked, and resultantly, you have a film that's very mediocre. Firstly, I don't understand what contemporary Indian film editors are doing at the editing table. Do they ask themselves some fundamental questions? Is this scene required to give a progression to the narrative? Is this scene captivating or capturing also the essence of the narration? And if it is not, what is it, the strength in it, despite not answering these, to find itself finally into the narrative? If an editor starts asking these questions while he is finally seeing the film shot, these 2 or 10-minute movies, 2 or 20-minute movies will turn down into 1.5 more movies. They'll be far more effective. Like life, it's not the longevity, but the impact that makes a good film. This film, for sheer length, loses on impact. 2 hours and 10 minutes of morbidity of a guy just trying to find out his music, suffering hallucinations, is not going to help. Not when you have an actor who doesn't have the wherewithal to carry it on his shoulder. Not after you have chosen somebody who's not a star and who doesn't have the acting wherewithal to carry a script of this kind. Not when you have a heroine who looks like a ghost and appears like one. The story is simple. Jay, the protagonist, is a music lover but reared by a single father who hates music. And in the very beginning of the film, the father says, music has ruined the family. From this end of the pendulum, where a character says, music has ruined our family, to Manisha Koirala at the end saying, music is the last magic on earth, is this musical. Jay, played by Ehan Bhatt, a debutante, falls in love with Sophie, a painter, Edilsy, Vargas, has a classmate friend in polo, Tenzing Dalha. Sophie is a very rich girl, the only daughter of a business baron, Sangania, played by Ranjit Barot. Ranjit is not the Ash-type father who says no to the wedding between the rich girl and the poor boy, but places a condition nonetheless, for he is not the idealist who doesn't see hand-clasped romance walking towards the horizon. He says, convert your art, convert your talent into business. Give me 100 songs and marry my daughter. This becomes the challenge. So Jay and his friend Polo set off to Shillong, where a good part of the film happens, where he starts making his music. He joins a family full of musicians. Unfortunately for him, he runs into the local jazz queen, Sheila, played listlessly by Lisa Ray, and gets into a problem in drug trafficking. Has to go for rehabilitation, attempts suicide, has all the dark grey areas that you expect out of a film of this kind. Somewhere down, the musical loses itself in the sheets of the autobiographies of the likes of Malcolm X and Paulo Coelho. There lies the sadness of this movie. This is not the bitter story of a man fighting for his music. No, this is not the Guru Dutt of Pyasa. This is a man who loses himself. This is closer perhaps to Ranbir's rock star, Aditya Roy's Ashiki 2, or even Udta Punjab, played by Shahid. And that is where the problem lies. Such brilliant performances by the Kapoors and Kapoor falls because of compare, because here is a raw talent trying to match such classic performances as Ranbir, Aditya and Shahid. Why this does not even match the Bandish Bandit boys' musical journey. The bitterness is missing. He's just, well before he takes to substance, he looks drugged. He looks lost. And you really wonder how one could have fallen for Sophie. She literally looks like one of those extras in a Vikram Bhatt film. She looks like one of those extras who are used when the ghost has to move sideways in a Vikram Bhatt background. That's how she dresses up for halfway down the film. For the rest of the other half, she is dazed. So, the lead pair failed the film. So, the casting director fails the film miserably. The editor fails the film because he could have chopped at least 30-40 minutes of the film. The steady move of the narrative From the past to the present, from the present to the past, from the colorful to the grey, are interesting cinematic mechanisms. But all of them fall because they are not fluid. They all fail because they don't come together as a single piece, and therefore they look very contrived. They look disjointed, and this disjointed narrative does the film singular harm. I'm not going to analyze the content of the music in the film because, as I said, I am no authority on Western classical music. But two songs, Jwalamukhi and Oma, standout songs. I'm going to hum them for a while. I don't know how the Western classical listener would take those two songs. I would say Manisha Koirala has the most staring role in her career. She's only staring throughout the movie. I don't know why and what she's doing there. She's only staring all through the movie. As I sign off, I would believe that this film would have been far superior if the filmmakers had invested money on a better cast. I cannot but ask myself, would this have been a better genre completely if Mahesh Bhatt had pictured the bitterness of a failing artist? Would the musical have been far superior if they had dug into the archives of Shankar Jaikishan, R.D. Burman, or Naushad Saab and seen what kind of music they would do to bring up the value and fabric of a musical? All these fail 99 songs. This is not to say that 99 songs is a failure. The thought is interesting. A.R. Rehman gives it his good shots, and when A.R. Rehman gives good music, you know it's watchable. Surely something worth hearing. So in that context, 99 songs is a journey that you can take. Somewhere down the line, one of them in the film says, one song can make a difference. It did. Jai Ho, Rehman. Where did that magic go in the film? There is no that one song that can make the difference. Thank you.